So with the introduction of Season 3, so many more guns have become viable inside Warzone now, and people are still trying to figure out what the best long-range kind of rifles are inside Warzone. So in this video, we're going to go over the top 5 best long-range rifles inside Warzone Season 3, and we're going to explain why these are the best rifles. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as this is our second channel and we do make extra content for you. So kicking it off at number 5, we have the Cold War AK-47. Now this gun did get a buff with the Season 3 update to its recoil, and now it's a very viable gun at long and medium range because it does have a decent ADS time as well. But like I said, this gun can be used very effectively now within this current meta because a lot of guns have become viable now, and you will probably see a lot more people running around with this gun. But for the class setup, you want to use the GRU suppressor, so you get sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. Then for the barrel, now you've got a couple of different options here actually. So you could choose the VDV reinforced barrel. This will give you bullet velocity as well as damage range. You could also go for the Spetsnaz barrel as well, which will give you bullet velocity and damage range, but also strafe speed, and it does hurt your recoil. So this is kind of the reason I would not go for this barrel, and I'd personally choose to go for the VDV reinforced. You could also go for the Liberator barrel as well, which only gives you bullet velocity. But if you're trying to extend out that damage range, then the VDV reinforced is decent. The Liberator is going to give you the best possible bullet velocity values. And then to kind of get a balance of everything, the RPK Spetsnaz barrel is probably the best, but keep in mind it does hurt your recoil. So personally, my favorite here would probably be the Liberator or the reinforced. One of these two are definitely a great option. Personally, I would go for the reinforced so you can extend out the damage range as well. Then for the underbarrel, you want to go for the Spetsnaz grip to control the recoil as much as possible. Even though the Cold War AK doesn't really have as much recoil as it did before, it's still a hard gun to control regardless, and that is why it does output a lot of damage as well. So you still want that Spetsnaz grip on there. Then for the ammunition, this is again personal preference. I think 45 rounds for this gun is still pretty viable, to be completely honest. Because of the amount of damage it does, 45 rounds is decent. But if you do have a 60 round option, I would definitely go for the 60 rounds as well, just because 60 rounds is better than 45. I know it does hurt your aim down sight time and your reload quickness, so if you try to use this as a medium range gun, then maybe go with the 45. But personally, I would use this as a medium to long range gun, so I'd go with the 60. Then for your last attachment, you want to choose whatever optic you like. The Vision 2 Tech works. The Vision Tech 2 times works. The Axial Arms 3 times works. The Royal and Cross also kind of works. The Susat Multi-Zoom also reduces a lot of the visual recoil on this gun, so that can also be an option. Personally, my favorite options are the Vision Tech or the Axial Arms, and that is the way I would build the Cold War AK-47. At number 4, we have the PKM from Modern Warfare, and not a lot of people are talking about this gun, but this gun has always been an extremely viable gun inside Warzone. It outputs a decent amount of damage. I say decent, it outputs a lot of damage actually, and it also has a very manageable recoil pattern because it only kicks upwards, so it can be controlled very easily. And now that the Stoner from Cold War, the barrels are kind of messed up with those guns right now, this is definitely the best LMG in the game in my opinion. So for the muzzle, you want to use the monolithic, of course, because sound suppression and damage range is important. The barrel, you want to be making sure you use either the last two barrels. There's not a huge difference between these two in terms of bullet velocity and damage range values. So just personal preference here. I would personally go for the final one just because it doesn't hurt your movement speed. Then for the laser, you want to go for the TAC laser for a faster ADS time. It's super important, especially because this is an LMG. You at least get a fast ADS time with this gun, so you can compete with things like the AMAX or like the GRU or any other gun that people are using right now. And then you do want to use that snatch grip that controls recoil as well as giving you a faster ADS speed once again. This is probably one of the best attachments for the PKM at the moment. And then lastly, you want to use that VLK optic or any optic you prefer, but that would be the best class setup for the PKM. And like I said, this gun outputs a decent amount of damage and it's got a really controllable recoil pattern. So next we're moving on to the M16. Now apparently this gun got a nerf, but did it actually get a nerf? Now it kind of did. The rate of fire is much slower than what it was before. And that means it's less viable at kind of close to medium range because you're not able to put out that many bullets so quickly. But you can still use this gun at extremely long ranges. The bullet velocity is great. The damage values are also great, especially if you're still landing some headshots in there. You're still going to get a decent time to kill. It's by no means as good as it was before, of course, but it's still a top tier gun. It's still very, very viable inside Warzone. And I still see a lot of people using this gun and a lot of people doing well with this gun as well if you control the recoil. So for the muzzle, you want to use the agency silencer. It gives you sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, as well as damage range. Then for the barrel, you actually do not want to use the strike team anymore because you're not really getting all that much of a bonus from the fire rate. But you want to use the task force barrel to extend out your damage range and get bullet velocity as well. So you'd rather extend out the damage range so that you can get that faster time to kill out to longer ranges instead of going for a faster rate of fire now, because the rate of fire doesn't really increase all that much with any of the fire rate barrels. So the task force is now the best option. Now you do get a con to recoil, but you can control this pretty straightforward. It's not like the AUG where the recoil keeps going and going. Then for the grip, of course, you need to use that field agent to help you control the recoil of the previous attachment. And then for ammunition, you can use 45 or 60 rounds, but 45 is more than enough for burst fire weapons like this, especially if you're using it at those longer ranges. You can reload as much as you want because you're not really going to be taking damage from a lot of players because you'll be shooting at long range. And then for the optic, you want to use the axial arms as we did before. That is the best optic for the M16. And the way you need to run this gun now is kind of like a sniper rifle or a marksman rifle at those longer ranges. You can't really get away with using this gun at kind of close to medium ranges anymore. At number 2, we have probably one of the best guns in the game, and it's been the best kind of top tier weapon inside Warzone for such a long time now, and it's been able to hang with every single meta that's kind of came and gone over the Cold War integration. But that is the AMAX. Now, we all know the best build for this gun. I don't really need to waste too much time on it. So it's a mono suppressor, Zodiac barrel, commando foregrip, 45 round mags, and the VLK optic. Now, you could swap out the commando foregrip for the Ranger foregrip. It just depends on whether you struggle with vertical or horizontal recoil. But the commando is definitely the best. You do want to learn how to control the vertical recoil because that's easier to manage than horizontal recoil. But like I said, the AMAX can hang with any meta weapon. So at number 1, we have a gun that I never thought I would ever put at number 1 or even anywhere on this list, and that is the KRIG. The KRIG now is actually such a good gun in Warzone, and you basically don't miss any shots with this gun whatsoever. It has a really good time to kill now. Like, I mean, a really, really good time to kill. It's not better than the AMAX, of course, because the AMAX has a lot of recoil. This doesn't. But it's actually better than the Grau, it's better than the Kilo, and it's almost better than guns like the M4 and the AN94 as well. And we're going to be doing a comparison video comparing this to the Grau in a main channel video later on. So for the attachments, the muzzle, you want to use the agency suppressor. You get the sound suppression, damage range, bullet velocity, all that kind of stuff. Then for the barrel, the Ranger barrel is absolutely the best. You do get bullet velocity and strafe speed with the mil spec, but I wouldn't recommend that. You get effective damage range with the takedown barrel, but I wouldn't really recommend that. The Ranger barrel gives you the best bullet velocity values, and that is what you need for a long range rifle. It gives you like over 1,200 bullet velocity, which is insane. So that's why you want the Ranger barrel. Then for the underbarrel, you want the field agent grip to control the recoil as much as possible. You could go for the SFOD speed grip because the only thing that's hard to control with this gun is the horizontal recoil. But the field agent grip's usually the best for controlling overall recoil. Then you want the Stanag 60 round mags because 60 rounds is the best, especially for a full auto gun like this. And then lastly, for the optic, again, it's personal preference. You can go for the Vision Tech, Axial Arms, SUSAT, or you can even go for the Holo Scout. But personally, my favorite is the Axial Arms still. So the reason why I think this gun is actually better than the AMAX is because even though the AMAX has that damage profile, it does have a lot of recoil, whereas the KRIG has almost no recoil. It's so easy to manage, and it actually fits exactly into the kind of meta of the Kilo, the Grau, and those kind of guns when they were meta. And this is an amazing rifle to use, and it's so easy to use as well. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like and also subscribe to our channel as we're trying to reach a goal of 100 subscribers. Also, check out our main channel. We're going to be doing a direct comparison with the KRIG and the Kilo and the Grau. And thank you very much for watching.